Hello and good evening and welcome. This is the Mercs of Mischief channel and it's Tuesday night, which can only mean one thing. It's time for Deadlands.
Woo!
All these beautiful people in 2 rows all ready to go. Look at all these shining faces waiting for me to crush their souls. It's awful and wonderful all at the same time.
Oh, we're going? I need to wake up now? Okay,
No,
great.
a little bit. No,
Sorry,
I'll wake
I
you up
wasn't-
when the horrible part starts.
So now?
So now, yeah. Hello, everybody in chat as well. Hello. The people involved this evening. Let's just do them in the rows. Baptiste right next to me, played by Ryan. Over at the far end, Ellie, played by Hannah. In the bottom row, leaning on that. Look at that leaning. This thing going on. Oh, a little bit of a pout. Give us a little pout. No? Okay.
I look.
Alice, played by Sarah.
I've been up all day editing content for you lovely people that will be available tomorrow.
We will wake her up as necessary during the evening. Jet, played by Sky. And Lucius, played by Lessimax. So with that, we know where we were. Let's just roll the train.
And now, let's go down a new rabbit hole where we find our Poison Paradise Party, Hollywood bound.
Oh, that's pretty. That's fun to watch. Welcome back. Oh, so much fun. We are off and running. These fine folks have found themselves in the ghost city of Lost Angels. This is Lucius's hometown, except it's really hard to call it a hometown when there's nobody in any of the homes. You found a very disconcerting letter left by your aunt, who seems to imply that your parents are, at the very least, followers of this cult, and maybe worse. You guys sent out a squad of searchers, found some very horrible things, and reported back. And now you find yourselves in a city full of parts, as I put it last week, trying to figure out how to get yourselves, your horses, fodder and water for you and your horses, as well as anything else you might need to carry with you, up the 200-foot tripod, across the half-mile rope to the nearest island, and down the other 200-foot tripod that's at that end. And with that, I will hand it back to you guys to tell me how you plan to do that.
Take it away, Lucius.
Okay. Well, I have been thinking. So, what I've come up with was we can either fly there, but maybe by ornithopter, or we can create a similar but smaller device, similar to the device that they made, but more sophisticated, is what I'm thinking.
That the second one is more in line with what I was thinking.
The question is how long that's going to take. I mean, between the two of us, we could probably calculate that.
I mean, how long is it going to take to get an ornithopter?
Good point.
Either way, it seems like we're going to be staying here for a day or two, at least.
Could be. the meantime, we could figure out a few things, such as see what Father Grimm's plan is by inspecting his church. We could collect food and supplies, as well as possibly even tinker between the two of us. Maybe refine our weaponry or armor if we have time.
Were we not on the way to the church at one point? Did we get distracted?
You decided to find a place to sleep for the night, as I remember it, in a nice mansion, a nice defensible mansion on the hill near the empty lake. That apparently Father Grimm and his people took.
Well, they took everything apparently. And
that is a good question. Did we have a night's sleep yet? I think we're going to take it as no. You guys were sort of that night, sort of puzzling through this, right? So
yeah.
So you guys are sitting around the table in this nice mansion, putting this together, figuring out how you're going to build this. So why don't you both? We'll start this with both of you give me a tinkering roll, assuming you're both working on it.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, it still has a 9 in it.
It does.
It's not a 9, but it's got.
Well, did you see your other rolls?
Hmm?
Because if you hover over the result, it shows you your other rolls. Your other result was a 9,
Oh my
a
god.
2, and 2 1s.
Good lord.
So you're playing true to form.
You rolled 19.
Okay. Between the two of you, you figure out a couple things right away. If you're building a small cart that's going to ride on this rope, you need to get it up there. The only way to do that with the muscle power that you guys have got and the amount of stuff that you're going to have to lift is going to be a pulley system.
Mm-hmm.
That pulley system should probably be attached to the cart so that you can lower yourselves at the other end. But then some poor bastard's going to have to climb up, unhook it, and bring it down if this has to be repeated.
Well, we got a cowboy.
The other big challenge you guys have got is to figure out, rolling down to the middle of this is going to be easy. That's just gravity. But getting up the other side with 4 or 5 people and the same number of horses to provide you power and a city full of spare parts and bits and pieces and...
Probably find a ladder, a very tall ladder possibly at the hardware store.
The hardware store has a 200-foot tall ladder.
What?
Might be.
Unlikely.
Marshal Kevin, is this... I have 2 questions about the city of Los Angeles.
Yes.
Is it would there be a tinkering kind of area, and would there be an occult area?
There's lots of occult shops and things like that. In probably the trendier parts of town, in old converted buildings. Although how old would a building have to be old to be? And never mind. Yeah, there's plenty of both. Yeah, as opposed to tinkering shops, you wouldn't call it that. It would just be like there's forges and foundries and workshops and yeah.
That's good to know. So I'd like to point those out. Like I probably would know these places.
Is there anywhere here that I can make deals with devils and demons? Is there like a designated place for that?
There's always a place where you can do that.
That reminds me. Well, that's what reminded me. Is there a place to find a huckster's book?
That's an interesting challenge.
I mean, they're not uncommon.
How much time do you... No, they're not uncommon, but what huckster would leave theirs behind?
Well,
think of a wizard leaving their spell book behind, right?
True, but a lot of people left their stuff and just went.
Well, I mean, here's the answer. There's plenty of copies of Hoyle's Book of Games, which is the Huckster Bible. It really exists. Go out and find it. It is magnificent. It is literally a book full of games. But in this world, if you know how to read it correctly, it's also a magic tome.
I see.
But you would have to find someone to teach you how to read it. That's not how your magic works. You're not a huckster.
Well, it's not for me. It's potentially
okay.
for someone else. I'm just wondering if it's around here. I'm just thinking to myself.
That would be extremely difficult to find. It would take a long time to find it.
Then,
Unless, I mean, even if you rolled well, you'd have to go... Well, no, like I said, to find the book itself, no problem. But to find someone to teach
if I can
all but
just
impossible
find,
in this town. So yeah.
If I can find the basic book,
yeah, Hoyle's Book of Games.
Then I just want to give
every
it
bookstore. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
sorry, I made that far more difficult than it needed to be. Yes, here, have a Hoyle's Book of Games.
Well, if I find one along the way, I'm going to give it to Ellie. So.
Yep, that's easy. No problem at all. Yeah, Ellie, that night he plops this book of card games down in front of you.
I'm gonna flip through it, and I'm presuming I can't read it.
Well, you can read it.
Or I can read
you now know how to
games.
play bridge and canasta and poker and 7-card stud and 5-card stud and blackjack and all of them. But you don't feel like you know any more magic than you did before.
It's a start, and if I can, I don't know, give her guidance with my occult checks. I don't know. At the very least.
No, it's not. Occult is the wrong word. Occult is more like what Jet does.
Okay, fair enough.
This is more like the application of laws that some people don't understand. It's less magical and more information based.
Would Alice know? Maybe not necessarily how to read it, but would Alice know anything about this based on stories that Chessie would have told her?
Yeah, you would know that there's essentially the whole book is written in code, but you don't know the code. Even Chessie wouldn't tell you the code.
But Chessie would know the code.
Oh, absolutely. Looking back, what he could do with cards, there's no way he wasn't a Charlie. Right? There's just no way. Now, whether he wouldn't tell you or couldn't tell you, I will leave that hanging in the air. Because you wouldn't have known to ask him.
So I got a question for Marshal Cat. Like Ryan has a question for Marshal Cat.
Yeah.
There's this rope that connects these two islands.
Yep.
It, like you said that, it goes down one side and then comes back down the other, but like how steep is that?
It has been pulled extremely tight. The total droop, it looks like you guys have got plenty of math. Anybody with artillery or anything like that would be able to quickly do the math. In the half mile that it goes to the nearest island, it only drops a total of 300 feet sag in the middle.
But that's across a pretty wide side. So, my question is just this. Can't we just walk across? You said the thing's 6 feet.
The rope is 6 feet wide, yeah.
That's wider than a car lane.
Yep.
That's about the width of a car lane. Can we just walk across the thing?
You look up, you could, but it is moving a bit in the wind. It would be challenging, but it's certainly possible. But the problem then would be getting your stuff across.
Okay.
Because there's Lucius told you it's essentially a salt desert beyond this point. You might find some cactus, you might find some grass. There's no fresh water out there, so you're going to have to take all of that with you.
Okay. It's pretty far.
It's designed to be a puzzle, so I see frustrated faces and I get it, but this is part of the.
I don't know. Tinkering to make something like this and with the poise system might take easily a week, if not longer.
Well, you guys rolled a 15 and a 19. You've got 5 people that are capable of doing the work. The 2 of you could do the math fairly quickly. 2 days, you could have a basic structure put together. Just because that's all I can't imagine anything you guys would want to do in this city that takes more than 2 days. While that gets done.
In this empty city.
In montage.
Oh yeah. So, who then is doing the planning? Are both of you going to work together on it?
I think the two of
Lucius,
us.
you keep telling me there's all these other things you want to do too. So,
well, potentially, if there's time, if it takes too much long time, whatever. But excuse me for a second. But I wanted to. No.
Yep, we'll catch you when you get back.
Lucius.
That pizza guy's fired.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. Although that is a very impressive doorbell. You don't get
It
bells
is.
like
So
that
loud.
much. It's like the church
Well,
has arrived.
I thought it was a sound effect that John was playing or something.
How could you tell it was the church? It's tattooed in the back of his neck. I've been watching a lot of Monty Python.
What was I say? Lucius is the ideas guy, and Alice is the one that's like, no. We have to come back to planet Earth for a second.
So this is perfect. This is him off looking for a book. Like you're going, okay, we got to figure this out. And you're trying to do pulley math, and he all of a sudden just gets up and wanders off. So give me.
I'm having flashbacks, and I'm like, damn, I wish that old woman was here.
Yeah,
that was on the train.
So give me another tinker in a roll. There may be
what in the world?
Oh, I like this.
This is fine.
You start doing the math and pulleys and everything else, and you get about 20 minutes in and you realize you have forgotten a very key component. Your math is all wrong, and you're in the process of rage quitting, which is in math and these days is mostly involves ripping up handmade paper and hurling it around in the wind.
About that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well,
that's where you get to when he comes wobbling back in and hands the book to.
All right. Well, I imagine she reached the point where she just rips everything up and throws it all on the ground.
Yeah, Lucius, you walk back in and she's swearing and hurling bits of paper around. There's a broken quill sitting beside an inkwell. Tell me when I've gone too far.
That's...
Miss Alice, do you require some assistance?
I wish that woman from the train was here. Anyway,
let me take a look at it.
The train's name is going to have to be 9 now, but
I need to take a break from this.
Yep.
So what time of day is it right now?
Explain. It's evening for sure.
Okay.
It's getting towards dark. Right. You explain to him what you were doing and leave him to do the math. And
all right. She'll gather everybody else up and tell them kind of what we're thinking at this point, what we're gonna have to do. Just explain. I'll kind of gather everybody together and just be like, so based on what they built and what we can do, we're thinking we're gonna have to try to build a cart with pulleys, but not to the size that they built it. I'm still interested in exploring the church in the morning and seeing if we can figure any information out that way. I messed up the math on the first go around, and I just gonna look at it again tomorrow.
Yeah, pulley math is difficult, actually, as you actually know, Sarah.
Yeah.
It's all those how many loops is it? How many miles of rope do I have to pull to get the heavy weight to move 6 inches? Yeah.
Yeah.
Although honestly, I will give you this:
especially hooked around a 6-foot rope.
Yes. Yep. But what I will give you with this, though, is you realize that is another option for pulling this cart up the other side would be hooks and pulleys. Somebody climbs up, puts hooks in the rope, and then you just pulley yourself up. Mm-hmm. Much more efficient than the giant hamster wheels.
Which is, yeah.
So, Lucia, she leaves you with the math. Go ahead and give me a tinkering roll and see if you can figure out this pulley system. Did Alice finish off the red wine? That was finishes worrying about your mental health.
He just finishes ripping my papers that I was ripping.
Jesus.
The smirk. Oh, Lucius, you are so lucky that she's gone off to do something because you smirked. when you started to do this math at her. You smirked at her limited mathematics skills, and then you made exactly the same friggin' mistake.
Not if I spend a chip.
Well, okay. You still did, but you can fix it if you spend a chip and it's a significant amount. What are you doing? White chip to re-roll, red chip to add, but I get one, or blue chip to add and I don't get one?
White chip.
Okay, so just re-roll 1d, what is it, a d12? Yeah, 1d12. Keep 1.
Okay.
And I'll add 2 to that.
Okay, I will just re-roll a d12.
You rolled awful. You got
Yeah.
really, really badly. You rolled awfully. Sorry. That's
Sweet.
that's even worse. That's a 5. So you go, you turn the paper over real quick and start fiddling again, but you got it even. This time here's the one that I always did all the way through all the math I ever did. Invariably, at least once on every exam, I would change a sign, a negative to a positive or a positive to a negative. That's what you've done on your second go around. So now you have the wrong number in a completely different direction. This is going to be difficult. What you guys do figure out is that it is going to be possible, but maybe after a rest.
Yeah. Alice is not touching this.
So there's beautiful fire over in the fireplace. All this lovely, expensive paper burning merrily in the fireplace when Alice comes back downstairs afterwards, and no answers.
I imagine when she finds everyone else, if they're like sitting by a fire or something, she just walks up and just tosses a handful of paper in. Hey guys, what's up?
So yes, that's what Lucius is doing.
I'll just be gloomy in the corner. Fuck.
If you know they're doing this, and I'm sitting, I assume, with Baptiste and Ellie, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep. Probably the comfortable part of the match.
I'm just going to turn to those two and just be like, I feel like we're complicating this. There's got to be a simpler way. I mean, I know I can fly, so that's easy for me to say, but it just seems like, and I'm pointing at the fire, I'm just like, that seems like an awful lot to try to get done in a limited amount of time while that many people are out stranded in the desert.
Are you saying this once Alice is back?
Well, let's let them start without that, and then you guys can come in.
Well, I assume we at least heard or either cursing from the other room.
You would have 100% heard Alice.
There's some tell that I know that something's going on. So I'm just like, there's got to be a simpler way. I don't know.
They seem to have a pretty decent idea of what the others did, but they were moving a whole city. I don't know, there might be something. I mean, Lucius wanted to go to the church. Maybe there's something in the man's study that could help get him the right direction. And also maybe just a night's rest.
Maybe so. I can't help but think about those flying machines back in Denver.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. It's an entire city. Who knows what we might be able to find out here.
The issue is those flying machines had one person. We've got to haul a bunch of people and horses.
And it's like a week away.
You're not here yet. Give us a scene.
Also, do you think I'll have to leave my cart behind?
Your cart is probably a ton. I mean, you could use your cart to carry everything. You're going to need a cart.
Okay, food and all that.
Yeah. I mean, you could build a lighter cart, but...
Just thinking, we'll have to make something large enough.
But the three of you, sort of I sort of see you sort of in the room with the fire, looking out over the city. The only light in this entire valley is this little house this little mansion that you guys are in. Three of you sitting around wondering if there might be a simpler way.
I wonder.
I mean, if there's a role I can take, but I don't. I mean, this isn't my thing. So
maybe the reservoir might have something, or did they just use it for water? Or did they
figured out earlier today was that it looks like they drained it somehow and took it with them.
Okay, so they took the supplies, but they didn't use it as a means to get there, right?
No. Not
Okay.
that you can tell. Because
Just-
if you think that it looks like they took at least 10,000 people.
Can I do a knowledge local to kind of like, sorry, it made sense in my head. Maybe it's not knowledge local, but
What is it you wanted to know?
if I can think of something that they would use to like, I suppose I had it. It was on the tip of my tongue.
An alternate way to get across this rope, or
Yeah,
something else?
just an alternate way, or perhaps a way that they all did this to like means, I suppose, to get there. Because I'm trying to think, because if I overheard Jet, maybe he's right. Like maybe there is a simpler solution. So I'm trying to think.
Sure. A couple sentences that may pop to mind. You don't have to go under the rope. Maybe going on top of it, like Baptiste said, is an option.
Possibly make
Something that rides the rope instead of hangs under it. Figure out a way to fly across. There's...
Wait, is there helium? Supplies of helium? Or
There have been balloons, yes, floating balloons over Res City before, yes, absolutely. Zeppelins and whatnot, yes, absolutely.
are there zeppelins in this town?
You would have to go and try and find one, but you would, knowing the town, you would know where to look. You would
Okay,
know
so-
where. I mean, you wouldn't call it an airport yet. It would be an aerodrome, but
Okay,
probably the military might have something.
I will think of that. So knowledge local or cognitive?
I don't even need a roll for it. You start to think, oh, maybe I wonder. That's a good idea. Yes, absolutely. An airship would work. It would work exceptionally well for this.
Sneak past them too. It would have room as well. So but that's a big if there is an airship.
From a deep dark corner, you hear, "This is not ideal."
The
And that
egret crests the horizon. So, yes, good idea. I like that. No roll necessary. Is there anything anybody would like to do before we call this an evening?
Yes.
Yep.
You go first.
Oh, not to poke a hole in that plan, because it might not work at all. But I got the one question I have to ask myself is, do I take Ellie? Or ask Ellie if she wants to come? I stand up, because as soon as we started talking about a simpler way, I was looking in the fire, and I started thinking, and I just stand up, and I was like, I think I need to go talk with my friend. And I kind of glance over at Ellie, and I think for a second, now this is out of character, but did you tell me what y'all talked about when she met with y'all? I think you did, at least in part.
I don't think I did,
Yeah.
but that wasn't from me not telling you. So I imagine if we ended the session. So I'd say just
Right,
us
yeah.
chatting here, I would have been maybe made a mention and just saying, I see Raven's followed you here. She visited me or whatever, and would have made a mention to you. Yeah.
Are you going to tell him that you told Raven that you'd watch over him and protect him from her, amongst other things?
I don't think she would.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but I wanted to give you the choice.
No, she would say that she visited her again, but yeah, she wouldn't mention that.
All right. Interesting. Well, if you have any interest in talking to her again, you can come with me, but if not, I will be on the roof. And
Sure, I got nothing else to do.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna head up to the roof with Ellie. Yay!
Yep. So you guys get up there easy enough?
I assume it's like dusk, like the stars are starting to come out.
Absolutely.
And I guess I'll just look at Ellie and I'll be like, I don't fully understand how I do this, I assume, based on what I've gathered from Raven herself, that somehow certain things I can do allow me to almost gain favor with spirits. I'm not certain how it works, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But between you and me, sometimes when I have nightmares, I go to places I never thought I could go. And you've been to one of them. You were in that field, remember?
I kind of touched the flower. Yeah, I remember.
I can't help but think, what if there was a way that if we did enough to appease them, that they might let us all pass through into, do I know it's called the hunting grounds?
No, I don't believe she's ever used that phrase. No.
Okay, then that we could pass through
It's her
there.
world.
I don't know anything about that world, and it can be real scary sometimes, but I don't know, it might be easier.
I mean, it's worth asking at least if it's possible for you to guide everyone through. We know you can take people, but taking people into there and then ending up in the same spot's different than taking 5 people and ending up somewhere else.
Take a hell of a lot of dancing, let me tell you that. And so yeah, I guess I'll start a little fire and I'll get to one side of it, and it's kind of like there's this moment of just like, oh, I forgot I invited another person up here. Kind of awkward. Oh well. And then I'll start doing what I've seen her do when she dances, and just be like, you can join me if you want. And this is how you do it, but I'm not gonna, and yeah, I'm just going.
I'll let you decide, but in my head, he looks a bit of a damn fool dancing around on the roof of this house. But I'll let you decide that for yourself. It's just a cowboy in full cowboy gear just dancing his ass off like nobody's watching.
Ellie's just gonna sit by the fire, just kind of watching him with a smirk on her face.
You guys inside can hear the dump, 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 like cowboy boots on the roof.
And there's hooting and hollering and cawing and
yep.
A cowboy dancing on the roof.
What are you attempting to accomplish?
I feel like when I do it, because she said whenever I do it, she gets that.
Yep.
So it's almost like paying a small favor to be like, hey, I'm trying to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Like a very personal, friendly, phone call almost.
Gotcha, yeah. You're dancing and you're laughing and everybody else is looking up, and you hear it as her feet settle on the far end of the roof.
I will never be able to hear that sound. Not think of episode 1, so thanks. Or 2, whatever. But
and you turn to look, and there's her beady little eyes reflected in the light. She's still in raven form. She's looking at you.
Do I see her?
Yes. Yes.
Hey.
She nods to you, Ellie, like it's a very not bird-like thing, but as soon as she looks back at Jet, it's just pure raven.
Just putting on a show for him.
That place, that field that I went to, and she was there. You taught me how to walk with the flower and hope. And is that a place that I can go to with enough work? And can I travel through there? And I gesture out toward the ocean. I was like, we're trying to get across, and that's a hell of a thing to try to build something that might just fall off into the ocean halfway through.
And she shimmers and turns into the full height lady with the long black hair. And she looks over at you and says, that's not a place like that. That's your mind. You can go anywhere there, but it doesn't take, and she kind of reaches over and taps you on your body, it doesn't take that with you.
it's just my mind? Are there other? I mean, you were there. Does that mean you were in my mind, or if I was? Does that mean she was in my
Of course I
mind?
am, silly. Where do you think I am?
Well, you're in front of me, right here, right? And I kind of gingerly, just kind of like on the top of the head, try to touch her.
Right through.
This whole time, you're not. How does that work? And
How can I see you when he's not around?
I let you.
So you just leave his mind?
I can even, and she reaches out and pokes you in the chest again.
How does that? Are you
Nope. There's not a word.
Freaking magic.
How? I don't even. And yeah, there's a definite fall on hit my ass moment. Just like sit down. Oh, this. I don't understand anything, do I?
Nope. No, you don't.
Well, and I turned to Ellie. I was like, "That's one option out of the way."
Hey,
you have
Raven.
to do it the hard way, Jet. Yes?
Do you know anything about huckster magic?
Words and books.
Yeah, books like this, and I hold up the book that he gave me, and deck of cards like this.
And she looks like she doesn't want to touch them. Really. And then she looks back up at you again and says, the problem with that is it's possible to say the words and make it work without understanding what you're doing.
But I don't even know what to attempt with it. I only ever really saw Charlie do a handful of things.
One of the lessons that I think applies to all of it, all what you call, such a weird word, magic, is that the only limits are self-imposed. That's what I'm trying to teach him.
I think I understand.
It comes down to wanting something bad enough to make it happen. The cards, the books, the dancing, the cutting. The rest of it is absolutely incidental. It's need that makes magic work. What do you need? And she's looking at both of you now like, and you gotta feel like the kid sitting in the corner of the grade 1 room with the dunce cap on, like you're not getting it, is the look that she's giving you.
Ellie's just kind of like back up a little bit and kind of look at Jet like, well, this is your friend, you deal with it.
Guess we'll know it when we need it. Right?
You better. She turns around and starts walking towards the edge of the house, like she's just going to walk right off the roof. You still got time to say anything if you wish.
See you later.
And she just walks off the end of the house and just keeps walking on empty air, and turns around and looks at the two of you and goes, "Need it." And just tilts backwards, turns into a raven, tumbles in the air, and flies away.
Well, at least I know I'm not crazy because you can see her too, so.
I don't get how, because if she's in your head, then am I looking through your head? Or how does she come to see me when you're not? I don't understand this.
If I had to guess, I'm going to use the words that would make the most sense, but do not mistake them for being what they literally are. I'd say she's probably something akin to a spirit, something that is stuck to me and allows itself to be seen when it wants to by whoever and however. But I think it's a lot more complicated than that. But that's the best way I think I can put it. But that's a guess.
I mean, I think that's all we can really do is just guess right now. Also, I would say I wonder if you'd be able to do that walking off the roof thing, but I'm afraid you'd actually go and try it right now, so that was not an invitation.
Yeah, I don't need a broken ankle, but I still don't trust that need to outweigh gravity right now, so I'll leave that one be.
Probably a safe bet.
You trying to be a huckster now? And it's
I want to be able to help, but I don't like magic very much, but this is the only thing that my remaining family gave me, as complicated as it is.
a deck of cards has brought me more grief in my life than I ever thought I'd bear. Although maybe the cards really didn't have anything to do with it now that I think about it, but I'd say if you don't want to do it, don't do it. You sure as hell help as much as you already do. Those were words. You get what I mean. You know, I do this because this is what I love. If I wasn't doing this, I'd just be another man with a gun. And the world's got enough of those. So
I don't know. It's tough because I'm not much more than a girl with a gun. And everyone around me has magic and they can help. And I don't know anything about building pulleys. I didn't even really go to school. I don't know. Part of me feels like I should, and part of me wants absolutely nothing to do with it.
This is going to sound like I'm metagaming, but I promise I genuinely just thought about this, so it just ties nicely. But I'd say you, unlike a lot of people I've met, can do with words what some people can only do with a gun. So, again, you choose your path, do what you need, and I kind of like mock that playfully to do, and I think it'll all pan out because you got enough of us doing all kind of crazy shit. But if you want to do it, then do it. You'll figure it out.
You have more faith in me than I do, but I appreciate it.
Faith is an interesting word, but yes.
It's an interesting concept.
So you put out the fire on the roof of the mansion and come back down. Meanwhile, downstairs, Baptiste, you are temporarily left alone in this beautiful mansion looking out over this empty city. You hear the rustling in one room and the thumping upstairs. And after a period of time, if there's anything you'd like to do, go ahead and tell me now. If not, then these two will walk it. Not these. I'm pointing at the screen that you can't see. Alice and Lucius will be the first ones to enter.
No, I mean, it's not really. He doesn't really have much that he can help with here.
Okay. So the two of you come in. Yeah. Alice and Lucius.
To where? Because I wanted to do a thing quick.
Yep. What did you want to do?
I wanted
Tell
to
me
talk.
your thing.
I wanted to talk to Alice.
Okay.
But Alice left.
Yeah, she stormed off.
So.
Okay.
You would have to, like, where did you go, Alice? Up to one of the rooms upstairs or
To where the
outside?
the gathering was.
Right. So yeah, the main room out in the front, and you see
Yeah.
Baptiste sitting in this big, comfortable room. You hear thump, 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 thump up on the ceiling, and then that stops.
Yeah, I kind of walk in and I'm like, I kind of just look at Baptiste and I just point up.
Oh, something with the raven lady. I don't really ask.
Wait, okay. I'm gonna have to just. I wonder if that's connected to the nightmares. I imagine it is. And she just kind of sits down next to Baptiste, and she's just kind of like, "This is." I didn't know what to expect coming here, but it definitely wasn't this.
Entire city being empty? No, that's a new one.
At least when paradise was empty, it disappeared.
Oh, I think we just don't know how to find it. It's still there, though. Problem is, we found this place. How's the planning coming along between you two?
Am I in this room or
You're muted.
you are
Kevin.
mute?
Sorry. I would suggest that you sort of are making your way towards this room, hear this fairly private conversation going on, and decide not to interrupt.
Yeah, that's fine
at this
by me.
point. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go outside, get some fresh air, and think to myself then.
Okay.
Alice
So back to
says,
these two. Yeah.
Yeah, she says, well, we've got kind of an idea of what it is we need to do, but it's going to take a day or two to do it. And I've tried to think of an easier way to do it, but I've got nothing.
Well, I mean, we've only been in the house for about an hour.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had quite an eventful day. I'm sure that a little bit of rest and taking a couple of days to look at it, the three of the rest of us can easily go find supplies or something like that.
Yeah, a good night's sleep tends to change things sometimes.
That's if we even decide to go on with it. I mean, we got here and expecting some sort of confrontation. There's nobody to confront. I don't know if Lucius... I mean, he's talking about trying to figure out how to get across it, but does it seem to you like he even wants to?
I can't really tell, honestly. I go back and forth on what I think that he wants.
I'm here to help him, whatever it is that he's looking to do. I'll walk into the desert with him if that's what he thinks is best, but, well, like, his family's home is gone. Who knows what we might find at the church tomorrow, but I don't know.
We might find nothing at the church, and we may find something that changes how we all think about what we're about to try to do. It's hard to tell.
Well, I think it's ultimately got to be his decision, you know?
Yeah. It's a lot. And this contraption that we're trying to build, it's also a lot. She kind of kicks at the fire, rustles it up a little bit.
Yep.
Well, like I said, I don't think there's any reason why the two of you have to figure it out perfectly tonight.
Oh no, I'm done for the night with numbers and she says, because Baptiste saw that old woman on the train, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she says, do you remember that woman on the train? The
I
older
remember
woman.
that you were sitting next to one. Yeah.
She, I was looking at some of my sketches for my photography stuff, and she fixed my math in the blink of an eye and improved upon it in the blink of an eye. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before.
Well, how long have you been working at this? Your photography.
Oh, the photography? Photography itself, a while. When I was younger, Chessie always tried to make me believe in magic. And I pushed it away. So I found a different kind of magic. Magic of photography. Chemicals. Alchemic reactions. Creating an image that lasts. Maybe not forever. Because daguerreotype plates do wear down after some time. But they last for a long while. So I've always kind of looked outward. But the math, studied in school a bit. Nothing extensive.
All right, so you studied it a little bit while you were in school. That lady, if she started math, the like you're talking about, when she was your age, well, then she's easily been doing it for the last 30 or 40 years. Of course she's better at it than you are. Doesn't mean you're not good. It means she's older than you. Keep working at it. You don't have to get it right away. Jet's good at what Jet does, and Lucius is good at what he does. You're good at what you do. We have different strengths. Relying on somebody else doesn't make you weak, it makes you smart.
I like the word resourceful. And she said, and she kicks at the fire again, and she says, I remember one night, me and Miss Kitty and Marshal Dillon were sitting by the fire. And this was probably about halfway through my schooling. Miss Kitty, she has red hair just like mine. It's one of the reasons that we got along so well. We were both fiery personalities. Marshal Dillon was one of the only ones that could keep her from doing too many crazy things. But we were sitting by the fire. And the Marshal, he was sitting there. He'd had a long day. He fell asleep. Burned his boots. Just the bottom. But he didn't wake up. He didn't notice until the next morning when he woke up and he went to stand up and he felt dirt on his foot. I'll never forget that. And that just kind of, it's always made me think about the things you don't notice until it's said and done. And this place gives me feelings like we're not noticing something, and we won't until it's all said and done.
Possibly. Might be easy to spot sunlight.
and she puts a hand on Baptiste's shoulder and stands up, and she says, "Don't burn your boots." And she goes to bed.
Goes to bed. Absolutely.
Just a couple of seconds goes by and he sits there, and then he can't help it. And then he like digs his foot into the boot a little bit further. It's not warm. He's like, okay, I'm in a good distance. I'm fine.
Okay, this is fine.
Outside, Lucius. The city, the city is empty, man. It's
just thinking to himself, looks at the empty city, and maybe the moon's full. I don't know, but just trying to think, and he just thinks of the good times here, the bad times here. He thinks of his mom, his dad, Lily, Edward, before all this. He's just like, is it worth saving at this point? He thinks to himself. But I think for the sake of the memories that I had, I think it is. I look at the watch and I'm like, what do you think, Lily?
You look back up, and the church of Grim in the middle of town. It's dark like the rest of the city, except for one light in one window.
Oh, that's peculiar.
And blows out like somebody blows out a lantern. You have marked which window it is.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna run back to see if I can just find someone to tell them that.
You come back inside, and Miss Alice has gone upstairs. Baptiste appears to be dozing in front of the fire at a safe distance. A warm,
Hopefully with his boots
Safe-
safely
yeah,
out of range.
I shifted the chair a little.
moved it back just to make sure she's not looking at him.
At
Move
a
back
different
6
angle.
inches.
I just give him a little nudge, just like, but like ready to like don't shoot, kind of.
I wish I had the quick. I need a hotkey, the quick draw button.
Just like, yeah,
he
I'll just
kind of
nudge him.
startles awake, but makes sense.
Okay,
You figure something out?
possibly. I'll get to that in a moment, but I went outside and Grimm's church. There was a light that was still on, and then it's like somebody blew it out. We might not be totally alone.
Wait, what?
Somebody was at the top. There was a light at Grimm's church, just one light, and then somebody blew it out. I don't think we're completely alone.
Can here point it out to me out here on the porch?
And I do, so.
And it's like you guys are on a mansion up on the hillside, sort of above the town itself. The church is right in the middle of town. This is a radial city. All roads literally lead to the church. And it's once he takes you back out there and shows you, it's pitch black. There's, I mean, like you said, there's lots of moonlight, but you do not see a lantern light anywhere in that building.
Do you think you know? I mean, you grew up. Do you know like what part of the building that is? That an office? Is that a belfry?
It's in part of the church which was off limits to the public. It was the upper levels of the church.
I will tell him that it was restricted, so to speak.
Offices sort of area, yeah.
Well, I think that it sounds like there's an even better reason to check it out. You were planning on doing that tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, I think
make sure that everything's locked up tight, and maybe even sleep in a couple of shifts tonight just in case. Go out first thing at dawn.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. There's just so much to do, and so I don't know how much time we have. It just feels like we have so little time. I'm overwhelmed, honestly.
Well, you figured, from looking around, you figured that this whole group of people, they left probably, about a week ago, you said?
Yeah.
Well, listen, that an entire city in a big old monstrous wagon, I mean, that's got to be slow. I would think that the few of us would be able to catch them, but maybe something to think about tonight. Is that what it is that you want? If it is, I'll follow you into the middle of that desert. But I mean, what is it you're planning on doing when we catch up to them? What is your end game here?
I don't know. All of it doesn't make sense, okay? My parents would never just willingly go, and the fact that my aunt told me to run is scary enough. Like, my aunt and my mother and my father, they were very headstrong people in their own way. I don't know whether it's some kind of supernatural power that's controlling them or something else. Something doesn't add up.
Well, I know what I can tell you is that this area certainly has something of a supernatural power to it. And if we catch up and you're able to find your family and make it make sense or break the spell, or they just tell you to leave, at least then you'll have some sort of an answer.
I'd be okay with that at the very least. We can only, after all, control our own actions and no one else's.
Well, then, how about you and Miss Alice, over a fresh pot of coffee, try these designs again, and maybe Jet and Ellie and I'll go take a look at that church for you. We'll bring back anything that looks interesting.
All right, sounds good. Can I make a proposal to you,
Sure.
Baptiste? If we survive this, if you don't shoot me, I'd like to accompany you on your quest.
Well, I'd be happy to have the company, I'm sure. We'll deal with that when we get there.
Sounds good. Anyway, thank you for your counseling. I think I'll retire for the night.
I'll stay up for a little bit. Those two knuckleheads are still on the roof.
Well, you can wake me up next. I'll take second watch.
You head off to bed. Meanwhile, coming down from the roof.
The knuckleheads.
The knuckleheads. I didn't want to say it, but you did, so here we go. The knuckleheads coming down off the roof. Anything else that you wanted to do, or are we just heading off to bed for the evening?
I don't have anything.
It's been so cool, such a quiet episode. I mean, lots of deep shit, but very quiet. Okay, so as all of you take your turns, nothing happens over the evening. You can set up your watches however you wish. Nothing bad is going to occur. The only thing that I will mention is everybody dreams. Miss Alice, you're dreaming of, well, you tell me. After the day you had today, because I know what I think you were dreaming of. I think you were dreaming of math that wouldn't work. I think you're having a nightmare no matter how you add it up. 1 and 1 keeps making 3, and people are watching. Maybe you don't even have pants on, in one of those dreams, is what I'm thinking.
I feel like it's kind of a combination of the kind of the numbers rolling through her head, and where since she told that story about Marshall and Kitty right before bed,
Mhm.
there's probably a bit of them in there and the times that they used to have,
Sure.
and because they were all like best friends,
Yeah.
and probably a little bit of, there was that book and all the huckster talk, so there's probably a little bit of Chessie in there too.
Sure.
So it's
It's maybe not a real good night's sleep.
yeah, it's just kind of a whirlwind of Chessie, Kitty, Marshall, math.
All these people and things that won't do what they're told.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Lucius, you... I assume your dream is a nightmare about your parents. Why are they... If your aunt's right, who, what, why, what happened, right? Is that... And Lily, and
Edward,
and the
Coming
other
out of-
two.
just coming
So I
out of
don't
the
think-
box to
yeah.
get me.
Yeah, so I don't think you get much sleep either. Jet. Is anything real? Like, what does this nightmare look like? Because this is a nightmare, right? I mean, this...
Ooh. I mean, if I really had to think about, because I didn't, that shook me, but it really just felt like a change in perspective, ultimately. Because Ellie was still there, and she still saw her, so it wasn't like this is all in my head. It was just like, it's a state change. She's
Yep.
not a solid, she's
Yep.
a something.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I have a nightmare, I feel like it's more just like kind of standing somewhere, and I just keep hearing that same phrase, like very lightly, just what do you need? And like I'm looking around and I'm thinking, and like I start thinking about my gun, I start thinking about everybody in the group, I start thinking about my family, and there's tarot cards, and it's just overwhelming. And then I don't know if you've ever had one of these dreams, but it's just like out of the blue, just in one explosive bit, it's just like, what do you need? And then I wake
Yes.
up in a cold sweat.
Yes. So here's the question, I guess. Does Jet need anything?
Do you want that to be rhetorical, or do you
I
want
will
me to try
leave
to
that
answer?
with you. You do what you will with that. Baptiste, eventually you drop off. Again, my guess, silver pieces, devil's names, old vows.
Yeah. Just bad dreams about the last time he was a part of a group that wasn't really sure why they were doing this, and not all of them made it back.
Yeah. Is that stole a little heavier than it normally is tonight? Just a little bit?
I think the stole's been a little lighter, but the guns have felt a little heavier.
Oh, I like that better. State changes. Speaking of state changes, wow. And then I saved this one for last. Miss Ellie. Cards. Every time you flip one, you know what it is before you flip it. Sometimes you can make them come up like you want them to. Do you hear the word need? And if so, how?
She does hear the word need, and she has 4 faces that she keeps seeing, 4 male faces. She keeps seeing Jet. She keeps seeing Charlie. She keeps seeing Carson. And she keeps seeing Tony.
And as you keep seeing those 4 faces over and over again, they start to appear to you as cards. Jacks. First one, then another, then another, then the 4th. The 5th card comes up as an ace. No, it doesn't. The 5th card comes up as a queen with your face on it. And you feel in your head the burned papers downstairs in the fireplace lift, float over to the table, reconstitute as a single sheet of paper, and then you watch as math that you don't understand starts to undo and redo on that piece of paper. And the numbers move and the symbols change and the plus sign changes to a minus sign, and that changes everything from that point on. And at the bottom of the page, eventually you see this ink form into 3 simple letters. QED. And somehow you know that means quod erat demonstrandum, that which was to be proven. And without knowing how the hell this math works, you know you fixed the mistake that they made last night. With 4 jacks and a queen. And you drop off to sleep. And in the morning, the sun rises as though nothing happened. But when you guys go downstairs, there's a piece of paper that's partly Alice's work, partly Lucius's work, partly Ellie's work. And the math is finished. And it's just a matter of building this thing. And with that, we will take a break.
There it is. There it is. I was hoping you were going to say that Baptiste had nightmares about his boots catching on fire in the middle of the night.
But they won't go out.
He ran through hell twice this week. His boots don't melt. But we will take a quick 20-minute break here because I sure as hell need it after that. Whew, that was quiet but intense, folks. A bit like the desert you're about to go into. So we'll see you guys in 20 minutes.
Candace and Dave were fighting zombies on a jet black.
What these wackadoodles are getting up to? My incorporeal nature made me a bunny. Wow!
About blowing your mic. Jeez.
Yeah, for somebody that was giving me shit like 30 seconds ago.
The DM. Oh my god. And I was all I could think.
What did I miss, fellow players?
Oh, what you missed was my spirit animal made an appearance. I've never seen anything in my life that more mirrored my inner self than that screeching, howling, fur-covered beast. Like a tiny, happy Wendigo. Chat, Marty is looking for Larch.
Larch.
Who has gone missing. We lost a larch in a forest, you might say.
Or maybe he knows and he's just...
Well, I feel like Marty knows and he's staying away because he's tired of being berated with questions about where Larch is.
Marty is in the points in time and space where Marty chooses to be.
He's social isolating.
Yes.
He does.
Time and space social isolating.
Time is a social construct.
Staying at least 2 years away from everybody else.
Yay, relevant.
We should
All
probably
right.
get back to this game. Okay. So, dawn rose on the city of Lost Angels. The ghost.
You were talking about Ryan's wife, and I was like, wait, she did what? Fuck, I'm tired.
So we'll just keep going. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a head shake. That's a good one. I like that one. That one where nothing moves but the head. Like there's a pin in the back of your neck, and it just. Yeah. So back in the city of Los Angeles, where everyone gets along and no one fights, we find ourselves as sun comes up. In the center of the city is the Church of Grimm, which had a light source in it last night. On the horizon beyond that, the giant tripod and the rope out into the mist. On the breakfast table, math in 2 handwritings that neither one of those handwritings actually finished, but it's now fixed. And you guys, whoever took last watch, the rest of you come downstairs for, well, something like breakfast, except there's no food left in this house.
Yeah, I imagine Alice comes down, and if she sees the paper, she's like, "Oh, Lucius, you finished it."
I'm gonna go up to her like, it wasn't me. I'm astonished as you are.
And when you guys look at it, it's weird because it looks like Alice's handwriting and then Lucius's handwriting, and then one sentence is, or one equation is half and half. It looks like you.
Alice pulls her flask out to see if it is empty.
How drunk was I last night?
It appears to be just regular whiskey or whatever it is in there. Southern Comfort, of course.
And it's all still there?
It's all still there.
Don't
yeah.
drink and math, kids. Don't
Drink and math.
All right.
Because that's no good.
She absolutely pulls it out and kind of is like,
Yep.
like, I didn't replace it with water. Like, it's not.
And the two of you go over the math, and it's correct.
It's all right, but it wasn't you. It wasn't me. Oh God.
I'm just walking downstairs.
I
and
don't.
I'm like, oh yeah, y'all. You just forgot to carry the 2, and no.
I just like look. Can we just look at him like just give him a good glare like.
I
Shut
don't.
up, Jed.
No, I didn't know. I
And
don't know.
Alice is like, she's like, I tried this. I tried this proof like 3 times.
Well, not only that, you burned the results.
Wait. Okay. Does this paper like burnt?
No.
Oh, okay.
It is completely reconstituted. But last night, all the paper that you wrote on, you ripped up and threw in the fire. And you watched it burn because you kept kicking it while you were talking to Baptiste.
Yeah.
But now half the writing on this page is yours.
Alice is like, Baptiste watched me throw this in the fire last night. But it wasn't done.
Lucius, you burned yours too.
And it didn't have your handwriting on it.
I did the same. Like, look, this is my handwriting here, and then this is the finished equation.
Did we make magic fire math?
Lucius, you see where you got the sign wrong, where you had a negative and it was supposed to be a positive, and you got, like amateur. Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
must have been
It's like-
tired.
Oh God. I made the mistake right here.
Miss Alice, you see that you cubed something you should have set to the 4th power. It's, you guys were tired.
Classic mistake.
I'm thinking like I heard magic fire, and I started to come around the corner, and then I heard math, and I was like,
The QED at the bottom is in neither of your handwritings.
QED. That's peculiar.
I wanted to ask, just in case, Sarah, you actually have a degree in math. Do they still put QED at the bottom of everything?
It's not like super commonly used.
Okay.
But it is a I know what it is.
That used to be on the bottom of every solution that you did on every exam. Yeah. It was like amen at the end of a prayer. You put it on every one.
Yeah, it's taught, but it's not like...
I can read a little Latin, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Quod erat demonstrandum, that which was to be demonstrated.
Alice, if at your kind of... She's like, yeah, it's basically just the way that you into proof. A successful proof, anyway.
Basically Latin for nailed it.
Yes, that's literally...
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Ellie's gonna come downstairs and she's just gonna look at Jet was there looking over and just like she's rubbing her eyes because she's exhausted.
Yep.
And she's gonna be like, "Are they at it already?"
You know.
Yep. Baptiste comes down as well. Yeah.
Why are we standing in the hallway?
It just
just like right behind Ellie, who's trying to be quiet.
She like flinches and all.
well,
wow, we're standing in the
He quick
hallway.
draws. He quick draws. There's a horrible volley of gunfire, and it all comes.
They come out, and all three of us have like guns pointed at each other.
Yeah, it's a
All of a
Mexican
sudden
standoff out there.
And for the second half tonight, Reservoir Dogs.
Did they?
Yeah, I imagine it's just
figure
kind
it
of
out?
Alice and Lucius like.
scratching our heads. It's like...
I don't
Ellie,
know.
And if
as
anybody-
soon as-
got down.
Yeah, Ellie, as soon as you walk in the room, you see them looking at that piece of paper from your dream last night.
She just like freezes and is just staring at it.
And Alice is like,
Equations just
I
don't-
know, we both burned it, and it's magically here.
Equations don't just solve themselves.
We made magic fire math.
How calmly can I walk through this scene while they're screaming with just like getting the coffee started? Because
You're a cowboy, man. You could. That is not an issue. You could
I'm
walk
like-
through a gunfight and make breakfast coffee.
It's magic. I'm over it. Not my magic. I'm just over them being like, oh God, magic. How could this be?
But
So-
magic math? We haven't had magic math
Yeah,
before.
that's evil, if anything. So yeah, I'm ignoring
You
that.
shut your fucking mouth.
And I'm gonna go make my coffee and just like, yep.
You start breakfast. Yeah.
Make me one too, please. Make
It's
it
like
strong.
it was like necromancy for numbers. How do you feel about that, Skylar?
Don't taint the good name of necromancy.
Number
How do you-
Nancy.
I like
Yeah,
my.
That's
I
the
like
only
my
way you
coffee.
know how many of them are dead is if you do necromancy. So
Yes.
I like my coffee like I like my magic black.
Boo, boo, gross.
Just for that, you're making it.
Oh my
arithmancy. Oh, I like that too. Yeah, that's
No.
very good
Oh
too.
my
yeah.
No.
gosh.
Baptiste gives Lucius a double skinny, non-fat almond and soy.
It's a glass of water, really.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
It's a glass of water that someone squeezed an almond over the top of.
Well, this is surely not going to wake me up. It
Oh,
looks
God.
nice.
But yeah, Alice is like, I don't know. Neither of us remembers doing it.
So
it's in our-
here's Baptiste. Pretend this is a coffee mug. Baptiste just goes, "Well, I would say that sounds resourceful then," and leave it at that. So what supplies do we need?
Alice like gives him a look, like if she could flip him off with her eyes.
It's my
Basically, is what she's doing.
Marshal Kevin. What is my move the plot forward roll?
It's fine. I'm just gonna stop talking now.
I
Gotta
want
make one.
to give Ellie one more chance to say or do anything about this piece of paper before he goes.
Yeah,
frozen.
she's just kind of been like frozen at the staring at it.
Yep.
Kind of like that is the same one, right?
Yep, and it's your handwriting that says QED at the bottom. And as you see QED for a second, you don't know what it means, and then there's like this flashback of your dream, and you know what it means.
She's not gonna say anything, but she's gonna go up and kind of like she's just gonna like take the pencil out of Miss Alice's hand And just underneath the QED, write QED in the exact same handwriting.
And it is exactly the same.
You did this?
Or I wasn't expecting that one. To Jet.
You
He
did.
hands you a coffee.
You did the magic fire math.
Magic.
I didn't do anything.
You said you were an academic.
But the QED you wrote. I mean,
I don't
It's
even
not
know
a-
what it means. I had a dream that this paper fixed itself and finished.
what were you doing before that?
Sleeping?
I was sleeping and I dreamed of cards.
You can see their faces again. 4 jacks and a queen.
Okay. Yeah.
That
Got it.
explains it. Yep. Okay.
Okay. So she
The
fixed
math
it.
checks out.
It's
Everybody's just having this revelation. I'm just over there next to Baptiste. I'm just like, magic. All adds up. Magic. Hey, look at that. It's magic.
Or should I say the magic checks out.
God, why? So about that move the plot forward roll.
So, yeah. So, well, I'm just waiting to see if anybody reacts to this. Other than that, we can figure out who's doing what.
no. As soon as Alice figures out that it's this is like, oh, okay, this is what happened. She did magic. It's a thing. Cool.
Thank you, Ellie. You've just saved us a lot of time.
I guess. I was gonna like hand the pencil back and go get coffee and sit away from the paper.
Right. I'm gonna do the same. Get some coffee, and I go up to Alice like, "Can I have a little whiskey in my coffee? Just a little bit of yours."
She pulls out the not whiskey flask, but instead the Russian vodka flask.
Oh, perfect.
The boob vodka. Oh.
It is hot coffee, at least.
Yeah.
And
Somehow,
I see
weirdly, it's still body temperature. It's very strange.
yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't notice it goes in your coffee. So yeah, you're expecting a little. Yeah, it's just a tasteless alcohol sort of
I
explosion in
was
the back of your throat.
expecting an
Never
Irish coffee.
Yeah, instead you got a Russian one.
Yep.
I'd like to think I've been making the coffee for myself, and every time I fill it up, someone comes over there and takes
It takes a cup.
just like first it was Baptiste, then Ellie, then Lucius.
Just takes
Yeah.
the cup.
Yeah,
Now there's none
Alice
left.
doesn't drink coffee, so you're safe.
Baptiste, just to see what the reaction is, Baptiste just hands Miss Ellie a small piece of paper.
I just smack away. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do math.
Oh, those is that numbers? Is that what that
Well,
is?
granted, apparently neither did they.
All right. Well, who wants to go shopping with Uncle Jet to get dynamite? Woo!
Where the fuck are you gonna go shopping?
What? Where do you think I got these clothes?
There's an entire
there
abandoned
is.
city.
I've
But it's
said
not
this
shopping;
car.
it's just taking.
They're doing 100%
Stopping implies
off
paying
sale
for
on all
something.
the dynamite in town. I'm gonna clear 'em
100%
out.
I'm just gonna go just with the coffee and just leave.
Jet-
So who is
Now-
going where? Are we going together, or what is the plan?
Jet, I would point out that it perhaps would be of interest to you. Lucius last night saw someone or something with a lantern in the church.
That's the bad church, right?
That may warrant some investigation.
And I lean in real close. I'm like, that's the bad church, right? We could blow it up if we wanted to. I'm not opposed. I don't know about you.
I don't think that there's anybody here to stop.
I like how there's 2 sides to Jet. There's fairly reasonable Jet, and then there's blow it up.
And then there's Dynamite Jet.
Oh, I love it.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I jumped in there.
No. That's fine. It was worth it. It was worth it to get our way to Dynamite Jet, which is my favorite roll to order at a sushi place.
Love it.
So
Well, I think I could use some fresh air, so I'm down.
So, haunted, evil church, and then a shopping trip.
Sounds good.
What could be more fun?
Kevin,
Yes.
Marshall. Not that I'm gonna go to these places, but I just want to know how far the abandoned theater is and the church that the thing that happened to me is. Just
That church was very close to your house, so it's burnt down.
okay.
The graveyard still stands, if you remember, but not the church, because you saw the gravestones that doesn't have Edwards.
Okay.
So the church is gone, but the graveyard is still there. The other building is fairly close as well. I mean, everything is walking distance,
So the abandoned theater is still up.
it's still there. Yes.
Okay, I will check that out later. So
Okay. So where are we going first, and who all is going? Church.
I think
Unless
we should
they're-
all go to church.
Unless there's dynamite on the way. I want to be prepared. But yeah, I'll go to the church
Keep
first.
our eyes peeled for dynamite as we go to church.
Absolutely. We will watch for dynamite. So,
I mean- I have some. If you really want it.
And spare parts, food, water, and all that.
everything you could possibly want. The food and water will be for the 5 of you for a long period of time. That's not an issue. Food you'll be able to find as well. Give me a searching, Jet, and see if you find some dynamite on the way.
Did
You
Alice
guys are
say
walking.
that?
You're walking towards the center of town, towards the church. Every once in a while, Jet goes, "Oh, maybe," and runs into a building.
A searching. Oof, sure you don't want to scrutinize? See
Nope, I want a searching.
Ugh.
Ugh.
After about half a dozen houses, Alice tells you to stop running off everywhere, and you have found no dynamite.
Oh.
Ah, darn it.
No, Alice will.
The dynamite R Us is empty.
Alice will. She'll go to like the last place that Jet came out of looking for dynamite. Alice will say, "Hold on," and she'll go in there. And she'll go in the house, pull out one of her sticks of dynamite, and come back out and be like, "Jet, you were right. It was there."
Oh my! Can
All
I?
right. That's
There we go. Yes.
And she'll give it to him.
Oh yes.
I like to
I'm
ride
complete.
beside Alice for a moment.
Yep.
So I had a different idea, but we've done the math, so it doesn't matter. But
Well, we barely did the math, to be honest.
yes, we have Ellie to thank for that. But plan B, like, I thought maybe if there's a Zeppelin or an airship around in the military area, we could take that, possibly.
I mean, I think that sounds like maybe plan A. And maybe building this big contraption is plan B. But that's just me.
Fair.
Well, you guys are going to have to give me till next week to figure out exactly how a bunch of no-talent people fly an airship over an ocean.
Oh,
That's
I
gonna be
think
fun.
I think it. I
Poorly?
think the answer is actually pretty clear how that happens. Quickly.
Read the manual. It'll be fine.
And-
Yep.
Because we need it,
with
Kevin.
Splash.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It'll fly on magic.
We need to stay in the air. We need to stay in the air.
We'll just get Jet to turn into a crow and just like.
Can I get-
Or we send Jet to find maybe a Zeppelin, I don't know, pilot at the military base.
Look, I don't know. I don't know at what point Gearstrip Industries has come over into this world.
We are a continent and an ocean away from Gearstrip Industries at this point.
A continent, ocean, and a game system
and
away.
a whole gaming system.
In
yes,
about
it's
20
really-
years.
Yes, and about 20 years, yeah. So-
Anyway, we'll check that out at a different time. There's one other thing I wanted to talk to you, but maybe not now. You said you wanted to work on your powers, and I feel bad for interrupting. Well, last time after I had a breakdown, hopefully that won't happen next time. But I have some theories I'd like to go over and questions over your powers at a different time. If you'd like to talk about that.
Maybe we deal with the
As I said, another time.
imminent doom first.
M&M Doom. That sounds
M&M
delicious.
Or is that his new album?
Oh.
Doom.
Oh God.
Jet has turned into a 6-year-old excited about toys of dynamite and M&Ms.
Yes. Candy and boom booms.
Hey.
Candy and boom booms.
Fair enough. I just figured when we take a break to just relax,
I appreciate
and
it.
talk over a few things. So.
Yeah, I Phew. I'm just trying to get through the day without getting my boots burnt. And she
I just look confused, like.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, that's an interesting metaphor.
She
I've never
just
heard that one.
she just gives you a big thumbs up.
And then you
That's it.
guys come down the main thoroughfare and look into the round. In the middle of a village, it's called a square, but this is a circle. So is that a round? The village round?
City center.
City center, yeah, let's call it that. And in the middle of that is this circular church. It has clear signs of not always having been circular. It also has clear signs of being something very much like a traditional cathedral. But somebody has knocked parts down and built other parts onto it, so now it's round.
I was gonna say the circumference, just based on
Yep.
Wasn't always like this.
all the math
I'm kind of
references, but
Yep,
explaining
it was,
to
yes.
them.
It wasn't, well, it's been, this is what Grimm did to the cathedral that was here when he started.
So it's just a Catholic
So
church
that part
before?
is normal. What has changed since you were here, left only sort of a matter of months ago, is in the front where there was a very traditional cross. Somebody has built around that almost like a scarecrow, like using it as a frame, and has built an image of a person standing there with their arms spread. And it's water stained and it's been up there for a while, but you, Lucius, can tell that that's a representation of the person who, when you left, was still calling himself Brother Grimm.
Huh.
But you would get an idea of this, and Baptiste would certainly understand this with his background. This is the worst kind of idol worshiping, placing yourself before the service and the church that is imaginable.
Let's just go to Baptiste. Like,
He's replacing all the holy symbols with his own image.
That's revolting.
He certainly seems to think quite highly of himself.
Egotistical maniac.
Do you know how to get us into whatever area of the church that we saw that lantern in from last night?
Memory serves me. I think I can.
You certainly know how to get into the church itself, and you've seen where the clergy come and go, so you could probably puzzle your way through.
I'll just lead the way, I suppose, and just show him.
You walk inside, and
It
I
might
don't
be
know.
best-
I will leave this. Oh yes.
It may be best for you to tell us where to go, and maybe Jet and I can be up here towards the front.
Check for traps. Okay.
So the two of you walk in first, inside. You push open the huge ornate doors and step in, loaded for bear. At least I saw Jet make the I got my shotgun motion out.
Mm-hmm.
Shotgun in one hand and a lit stick of dynamite in the other, looking like Willie.
Well, that's going to last a couple of seconds before something happens.
I get my shovel, but I don't turn to a scythe yet.
Yeah.
Just have it out of my sheath. New sheath.
And this is all the stained glass around this place, all the artwork that's on the walls depicting what should be very traditional scenes has all been changed. Not just one head, but every face. It doesn't even make sense. It wrecks the story of that the windows are trying to tell, because every face is Father Grimm. So it's a Father Grimm holding a baby Father Grimm with a Father Grimm standing behind it. It just, every religious icon has been replaced with his image. The candlesticks are him standing there in his robes.
Just look at the baby artwork and like someone didn't think that one through.
That's an ugly baby.
That's a very ugly baby.
I actually want to go find one of the, because I mean, if this used to be a Catholic church,
yep,
all of the in front of the pews will have a missal, but also should have a Bible.
Yes.
So I want to go pull whatever books are in the back pockets.
Yep. You start flipping through them, and there's places where they want to fall open. There's places where verses which are obviously constantly referenced during the services, and so these Bibles open to those verses. And they are invariably things about an exodus, a needing to leave promised land. It is all very, very Old Testament and very... It goes with the story that you've heard, that he is taking them to a further place, a place away from the corruption of the daily world.
Okay.
So on some level, he thinks he's doing the right thing to save them.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I know who that is. Thank you, Roosbar. 5 months on the fly, dude. Thank you.
That's awesome. Woo. All right. Lucius, which way?
I'll point it out. So which way would it be, Marshal Kevin? Out of curiosity.
You just, you would have seen them, and Baptiste, you would have been to enough services. You know that behind the pulpit, there's the stage where they're performing, and then behind performing, maybe not the word they would have used, where the rituals are performed, and then behind that there's sort of the backstage area, and then stairs going upstairs. So it's not like it's a hidden location; it's just not obvious.
Okay. So behind the altar, basically.
Very easily, you find the stairs heading upstairs.
All right, and just keeping an eye out for, I mean, if anybody is around, but also like if there's any. Actually, to turn into Jet says, I'll keep an eye out where we're heading in case somebody unexpected is here. But you're quite a bit better at seeing maybe how many of them there were, or where else they were from. Just taking a look around. I'm trying to not have to be the one that rolls search.
You don't want me to either.
Oh shit! Well, I thought it was, and I already said it. So.
Well, that's why he's looking at you confused. I'm like, how many? I'll go if you want. I can. You want me to go phase through the ceiling? I mean, what?
Well, actually, I mean that when we get to the door of the study, that might not be a bad idea.
Boo! All right, I got you. I'll be the ghost in the church. Only for you.
That was the plan. That was my plan the whole time.
So, Lucius, you can easily lead them upstairs, and you go it's third door on the left when you get to this hallway, because you know what the building would look like from outside. Right? You know which window was lit. This is a very business-like hallway. There's not a lot of accoutrements here. There's not a lot of symbolism. This is clearly the office of this building.
Right.
There's a strange lack of any iconography.
Weird. occasionally, wouldn't they have like a cross or something, or one symbol?
Normally there would be, something at the end of the hallway and, art and whatnot. Normally it doesn't stop at the back of the church, right? Normally it would carry back into the rest of the building, but it doesn't seem to have done so here.
It's peculiar. Okay. I guess. Oh,
that's the door.
All right. Does it say Father Graham on the door? Like, is there an indication of what this room is before we?
Yeah, absolutely. It says accounting on the door.
Oh,
More math.
all right. Well,
It's a very mathy episode.
Making a comeback.
Ooh,
maybe it's not quite as dangerous as we thought, but if you're willing to exert yourself, take a peek.
I look at the door, and then it's just like I look back, like, all right, and then I poke through. And I'm just like, you doing math in here?
An abacus hits you right in the head. A ghost steel abacus.
So take 5 wind. You poke just your head through the door?
Yeah, at first I'll walk the rest of the way through in a second.
As you stick your face through, you see an office that has clearly been ransacked. Tables are flipped over, desks are open, all the drawers are pulled open, chairs are chucked in the corner. There's even some, like the inevitable green leather seat to these chairs, because they're the dark brown wood with the green leather seats with the rivets holding it in place, always in these movies. That's been cut open and the stuffing's been pulled out. Somebody has gone through this room looking for something. There's also a bloody great safe against the wall.
And so I stepped through, and was the door locked?
You step inside, reach back, and turn the knob, and it turns freely in your hand.
Yeah, I just turn it and open the door, and then I'm going to go straight to the safe and get up in there.
Yep. You face inside the safe again?
Yep.
It's pitch black in there.
It's dark. From the outside, you just hear, oh,
You just see Jet from like the rib cage back sticking out of the safe. And actually, they wouldn't hear a damn thing. Safes are soundproof too.
Oh,
you yell inside the safe and almost
Wait a
deafen
minute.
yourself.
If only your head was in the safe and then you made yourself corporeal to speak, would that immediately cut your head off? Did you just accidentally kill Jet?
For like the second time?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
You guys have to carry him around because he's become one with an 800-pound safe.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I will
get back to some other city. You can get the door cut off, so it's down to 200 pounds. But
they're heavy.
Yeah, it's dark in here, so I'm just gonna kind of do one of these and just like and try to see if I can catch anything.
Because we said you can do this. Yes.
Yep. Thank you again.
Yeah. So take another 5 wind. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all going to come back right away anyway. But you come out with your arms full of bags of coins. Like you can feel it in your arms, like just bags and bags and bags of it. It's probably the collection money.
Oh.
I mean,
if it's all nickels and dimes, there's maybe $50-$60 here.
It's like I turn around, I'm like, it isn't what it looks like.
Wow, Jet, robbing a church of
all
all
the
places.
bags say Church
I
of
expected
Grimm on
better.
them, and he's standing there.
I'm like, who wants to place a bet? And I reach in and I grab the coin and I look at the face. Who's on this coin?
It's tender of the realm. It's legal money.
All right, I was wrong. I owe somebody some money. Here you go. And I toss a bag.
Just toss a bag
it's-
of nickels.
It's pennies and nickels, nickels, dimes, and quarters. It appears to be the collection money.
We need 4 socks.
I mean, a quarter was a lot of money back then.
If there's
get a shave
$100 and
and a
change there, that's a
haircut.
large amount of money. But whoever it was here last night couldn't get into the safe.
Well, I mean, just some random desperado in here? Or does it make sense why they'd be going through all of the paperwork or the accounting here?
Did he like open the door to the room?
Yeah, he said he opened
Like,
it.
Yeah, he
okay.
opened it up. He went through and then he just opened it. It just went click and opened behind him.
Okay.
So you guys are all in there if you wish.
Yeah,
in this
asking if
thrashed room. Yeah.
I'm asking Lucius, is there any reason someone might be going through all of this other than looking for the collection money that apparently Jet has found?
Not that I can think of. Could I look around and see if there's anything?
Yep. Give me, in this case, give me a scrutinize.
Let's see if we're feeling confident today.
That's funny because the way we've been rolling tonight, nobody should be feeling confident.
Hey, I started with a 19.
Yeah, and it's gone
I
downhill
had
from
a-
there. I can
Downhill
still see
from
them all.
I
It's
had
literally
a
gone downhill from
15,
there.
I'll have you know.
19, 15, 9, 9, 3, 3 is what we're at so far. So
Oh, here
and we
it
said it
is.
wasn't there's been like 6 rolls tonight. This
There
is
we
crazy.
go.
Scrutinize an 11. Yeah. You go through what's been left behind, and there's a lot of sort of. I mean, I wouldn't call them important documents, but if they were here for information, they would have taken this. The accounts are there, so the records of the amount of money that's been collected over the last number of months. There's even a list of expenditures. So if somebody was looking for information, they would have taken this. The other thing that you don't find is a penny anywhere else in that room except what was in the safe.
Mm.
So if there was change here, they took it. But it looks like it was just a straight attempt at getting at this money. Somebody knew that there was money in this place.
Out of curiosity, how much was in the coffers a month ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago when they left?
I was thinking the same
The
thing.
yes, the incoming and outgoing. Now that you've got the book, you go back through time. If you go back far enough, before, like when you were still here, Lucius, you go back to those points, and they're pretty consistent. The incoming and the outgoing, you can see lots of money was spent on the church, lots of money was spent on art and things like that. And then shortly after you left, there is this dramatic change. First of all, there's a huge increase in the amount of income. It looks from the records like tithes went from a expected 10%, where you're expected to give 10% to the church, to a required 20, 30, 40, and eventually 60% tithe on everything everybody did. Every penny everybody made. And then the outgoing is all going to construction companies, metalworking places, rope companies, wire companies, food supplies, barrels, boxes, crates.
Let's point this out to Baptiste and just take a look at this.
The building of whatever that behemoth machine was supposed to be. It seems like he had everybody convinced that this second Exodus was destined to be.
Was it right after I left, or just not long after I left?
A matter of weeks after you left. And going over it again, the time, that the speed that this happened is almost unbelievable. It doesn't seem possible that the entire economy could have just shifted like that almost overnight. And in a very, very short period of time, nobody was doing anything else. Everybody was working on this project.
Oh, somehow, it's just like he convinced everyone to work on his mad contraption
All at
within
once.
all at once within a couple weeks.
At the most.
Doesn't make
And that's
many-
including your parents that you said were very much
that's-
not
They were
on his
as
side.
unbeliever as it was possible to be.
If he was able to convince your parents, then maybe he was able to convince everyone. Or whatever power he acquired, everyone fell under his sway.
That's so strange.
Lucius, when you saw the light last night, were you looking at the church and you saw it flick on, or did you just glance over, see the light was on and it flicked off?
So I think I saw it, and can I respectfully, can I reasonably say like
it was
that
the
they
second
may
notice.
have noticed me? Okay. Sorry.
No, you were way up on the hill. I mean,
Okay.
you're the only other light source in the valley, but you were miles away. The
Well, I
only
just
reason you
mean-
noticed is because you were the only two light sources out here. So.
I just mean, if you just glanced over and noticed the light, perhaps this wasn't the only room they went through.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
I was thinking something similar. If they were,
And regardless, I mean, we should probably take a look through what else we think they might have gone through. But I am very, very interested in making a beeline to this Father Grimm's
The office.
personal office.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Take
So
a
you guys
look.
step back out in the hall and start opening doors, and every office on this floor has been ransacked. Somebody has been through all of it. Anything that looks like it was of value is gone. So there's places where there's no inkwell. You can see the black circle on the table where the inkwell was, but it's gone. Maybe it was made of something valuable. There's places where you can see picture frames where someone has pulled the picture out and the backing off and just taken the frame. So maybe it was gold.
Is there a way to tell if this recently happened or if this was a while ago?
Well, yeah,
With
the
your
ink,
11
there was a ring of ink. Is there still wet ink?
Exactly. Yeah. The ink is still tacky to the touch. You saw the light last night in the windows. There's footprints in ash on the floor, like maybe they were carrying a lantern or a torch and they were stepping in the remains of that. And that's all very ephemeral. I mean, something like that wouldn't last more than... This may not be the only time somebody has done this, but last night a lot of this was done. And there is still one more floor above you in this building.
That's probably where Grimm's office is.
That's what I want to find.
Higher than everyone, right? So that does sound like him.
And you guys go up the stairs. There's a long, dark hallway, and at the end of it, this ornate gold door has been knocked all but off of its hinges. There's a big gouge in the door, and it's been knocked open. And inside, you can just see, just from the light of your lanterns and whatnot that you would have to be seeing in this, plus some little bit of window light coming into windows, you can see what was once a beautiful office, and it's just thrashed. There's a huge wooden desk that's flipped up on its side. All the drawers have been pulled out of it. The leather seat that was behind it, every cushion has been cut on it. The carpet's been ripped up off the floors. The paneling is pulled off the walls. And once you start to really pay attention, you can see that there's little pillars that used to have statues on them. The statue's gone. There's a very obvious space on the desk where a writing set used to be, a very fancy one-piece writing set. That's gone too. Everything of value is missing, but there are papers strewn all over the floor. Most of it seems like sermons, bits of sermons, a sentence or two here and there. None of it particularly inspiring.
does he have is there a safe in his office?
There is, not that you can see, no. You look around and there doesn't seem to be, just the desk drawers.
I want to try to see just if there's any hidden or recessed alcoves or, something up behind the lip of a fireplace. Like, I know it's been pretty heavily turned, but
sure. You see on the bookcase, most of the books have been pulled off, but there's one little spot where there's a couple of books left, and you go over because that sort of draws your attention, and they're just books leaning against the edge of the bookcase, but right next to it on the vertical part of the bookshelf, there's somebody has fairly recently cut a very clear little cross into the wood.
If I can, I'll try to mess with that section or push or pull on it, see if it.
You do, and it's you the what was it, how we used to put push pull drag to see how it worked, because you'd have to tell the DM which way you were trying to make it work. But yeah, you put your thumb on it and just kind of press, and this whole section slides in, and you hear a click as a section unlocks, and the traditional bookcase secret door just comes open an inch in your hand.
I think we might have gotten a little bit luckier than those rapscallions last night, and pull it open.
And you open it, and there's this.
Ransacked.
It's weird as hell. It's a workspace. It looks for all the world like a high-end carpenter shop. There's woodworking tools and metalworking tools. There's a small forge in the corner. There's hammers and all kinds of equipment along the walls and perfectly maintained racks. No one has been in here. And in the center of the room, what looks at first like a Viking longship. It's 30 or 40 feet long. Both ends go up, but they curl to the sides like this, not front and back like this. And inside there's a set of like seats and bicycle gears and pedals. It looks like it's designed for 10 people to sit in and pedal these gears. And you follow the gears, they go up the ends of the boat and into these hooks, into these wheels, so that whenever somebody cranks the pedals, these wheels are going to turn.
Is this like a model?
Yeah, I was going to say, is this a
or
model?
Is this an actual?
This looks like a where the other ones were cargo ships. This is more like a palanquin. This is designed for one or two very important people to be transported by these two rows of peddlers.
Okay, but like this, so this isn't like a little closet. This is a large room.
This room is almost this room is almost 50 feet long, and this boat-shaped thing is almost 30 feet long, and it will clearly hang on that rope.
I think I mean, as much as the marvel of engineering that the three of you were able to come up with,
I mean,
we may have solved our problem.
This saves us from having to build anything.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Now here's a question. Did I just
wreck an airship adventure? Shit.
Now here's a question. You've already had an airship adventure.
Yeah, but I wrecked that one.
Here's a question. Are we not like on the top floor?
Yes. Yes, you're 3 stories up. There is a door at the end of the.
Yeah, we haven't gotten through. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he had to have had a way of figuring out how to get this over to the area.
Yeah.
And you guys look around now that you know what you're looking at. You find a couple of rails that can be put in sections, and the doors, like barn doors, open at the back, and you could build these 2 long rails. And it would almost be like launching a ship down. They would slide down to the bottom. You would still have to get it that sort of 10 blocks to the edge of the city, but
okay.
I mean, uncomfortable, but between the 5 of us and horses it seems doable.
Yeah.
Was Grim a tinker himself?
You would be the one to know, but it certainly seems like it.
The 2 of you that tink have a look at this thing, and it's not the work of one person. You guys can tell somebody did the gearing, and somebody did the body work, and somebody did the seats, and somebody did the geared teeth.
Yeah, it looks like he, I mean, based on who he was, I'm not surprised that he was able to hire people to
And this is
do whatever he
quality
needed.
gear. Like, this isn't just functional, it's also beautiful. Like, you could make, Miss Alice, you could make an entrance coming out of this. I mean, this would draw people's attention at the best of parties. This is well put together as well as being highly functional.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Because at the moment I saw it, I'm just like, that's tacky as hell.
Do I think that I know that I'm pretty sure I think we could get it like to the right place. Do I think that the 5 of us can move it? Because if it was designed for 10 people to pedal, looking at this, does it look like the 5 of us would be able to get it across this?
You figure out quite quickly this thing is heavy.
Yeah.
But if you chuck a lot of the ornament and the tomfoolery off of it, if you spend some time hacking it down to useful, it would be something the 5 of you would have to work, but you could get it going.
Okay.
With your horses and the cart, and because that's the other thing is this is designed for people, right? And you still got to get your horses and your cart and everything else, and this is not going to be an easy, stable ride. But you guys are convinced that, or at least you're convinced that these big, strong people could probably paddle it up that hill, like up the other side of that rope, right?
Okay, that was my, like, in addition to the concern of getting it out, that was a concern of like, because if we can't move it, then it doesn't matter, and there's no use wasting.
There is still the one thing, well, 2 things that are still problematic, but we will give you a week to think on these. Getting it from here down to the tripod is going to be an interesting challenge. Getting it up on 200 feet onto the rope, there doesn't appear to be any obvious system attached to this that's going to do that for you.
So we're going to have to probably use the workshop and tinker away here. Burn the midnight oil.
I mean, it's morning, but sure.
But yes, yeah.
Did I overhear?
The brunch oil, you are... Yeah.
If this is a workshop, I mean, looking through here, are there books of previous iterations of the design of the other ones? What was the hoisting set like? Yes,
absolutely. Yes. You find a large drawer, a series of drawers in a looks kind of like a desk, but it's just drawer after drawer after drawer, and it is blueprint after blueprint after blueprint. There's carts designed, huge carts designed to haul these ropes that are 1/2 mile long and 6 feet in diameter. There's a special cart built to haul those. There's 2 carts that are used at the ends of each of these trees, these 200-foot tall California redwood trees that are used to make the tripods. There's the carts that Jet has described to you, all the living carts. The ones, each one has about 1,500 people living in it. And at any given point, 500 of them are pushing it if it's on a hard surface. Or 50 of them are taking turns running the giant hamster wheel to make it climb the ramp or rope on the other side. There's other ones that are just pure storage. They're just huge boxes full of food and water and animals and equipment and all of it.
So it's something to go through, perhaps.
Any initials on the blueprints of who made these?
Again, they're the work of a lot of people. And again, that would not have been normal. In this time and place, this is still very much a skilled tradesperson sort of a culture, like one person would work on something. This breaks all those rules. It's the only way this got done this fast. There were dozens of people working on each of these drawings. You can see there's rows of initials at the bottom. This is propulsion, Joe, gearing, Frank. Just.
Interesting.
And they were all done within like a week.
Yes, the designs are all dated within 5 days. So again, it's superhuman. It's not feasible that this got done this fast.
God, I really want to know what happened on that first day, the day before all this started. I suppose Lucius and I can stay here and go through over all of these documents and see if it's more feasible to use this one that's already built, or if it's more feasible to build a different type of mechanism and modify it. See what's going to be the most efficient way to do this.
And you guys are standing in this room with the doors open, this gigantic boat-like structure behind you. Ahead of you, the Pacific Ocean, the shattered lands, that huge tripod, and apparently your future. And with that, we'll put a lid on this until next week. Whew. Thank you to all these wonderful co-creators tonight, because that got intense. I know some of us were tired and beat up from other stuff and other things, but I really appreciate the effort everybody brought to the table tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So just in the reverse order that I brought them in, Lucius, played by Lesimax, Jet, played by Sky, Alice, played by Sarah, Ellie, played by Hannah, and Baptiste, played by Ryan. Thank you guys so much. Well, it's that time of the night. Let's do the thing. Ryan, when you're, I just saw you guys put up a new video today. Tell us a bit about what's going on over at RFRI.
Yeah, we did. Tuesday is our normal video day, and so today's video was so much fun for me to be able to do. I built a serpent folk through Hero Forge, and then I painted that up, and it is very directly based off of my pet snake, Stilgar. And then Stilgar, and then all of the new Daniel Villanueva information about the Dune movie came out today, and the pictures, and Oscar Isaac looks amazing. So yeah, it was a cool day. But our video, which is what you asked about, is a painting tutorial, and it kind of shows how to get a really cool, very natural looking modeled scale look for a snake, and how to do some layering with white ink type paint that's on there. And I don't want to take too much extra time, but I have to brag on my sister, my real life sister. You can follow her, trying to find her, Illitha Ray, and if you go to our Twitch or our Twitter, you can find the links to it. My sister was just named the head coach of esports at Stevens College. She has been coaching esports and things like, oh God, I'm forgetting everything now because I'm so excited.
It's okay. Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, I read that article when you posted it.
Yeah, she's the head coach of a college esports program, and go follow the Stevens Stars and their esports team and support my sister. That would be really awesome.
That is a very cool story, and one of the sweetest uses of your personal time that I have ever witnessed. That was really wonderful. Thank you. Sarah and or Sky, how about our YouTubes?
YouTube, we do stuff there.
Lots of it.
Tomorrow there's video.
Yeah, tomorrow there's a video going up. We are our lovely, beautiful, wonderful sponsors over at Hero Forge.
Oh, they're so beautiful and wonderful.
They're so beautiful and lovely and wonderful. And we are doing a YouTube series where we are making the Avalon Knights characters in Hero Forged. And
so this is Lucas we're doing?
Yeah, Lucas is coming out tomorrow.
Excellent.
Don't
tell me, but does he only have one arm?
Well,
I don't want to know. You got to watch tomorrow to find out.
Well,
I will jump in here with a couple things. One, word is that severed limbs is on the roadmap for Hero Forge 2.0. So at some points, that might be an option to remake. The other thing is tomorrow.
Okay, I didn't know if we were announcing that or not.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Cool. Go for it.
Okay. Okay, I'm so excited. Okay, so also tomorrow, live, right here on the Mercenaries of Mischief at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I will be here. Skylar will be here. John will be here, and Joe Cat will be here. We are going to attempt to make the Wiggler in Hero Forge for our Hero Forge sponsored content. So be sure to check that out tomorrow. Live.
I did not know about that. That's incredible. Yes, the Wiggler. We shall create it.
I think
we
we're also
make
making.
it so.
I think we're also making Flopper, which is.
I'll be honest. I couldn't remember its name.
That's the evil bald Kenku, right?
So in my brain, I wanted to say Fowler. Because
we're gonna see.
Let's see what we can do.
We might pretty soon have access to the color tools, which would make a big difference if we try Flopper.
Oh, Julie's all over my chin.
Flopper, not Fowler.
Other than that, always Sundays and Mondays here on the channel for the wonderful Puck running our magnificent Avalon Knights Academy. 2 groups, 2 knights, 1 world, and so many messes. So many messes. Other than that, stay tuned for our other stuff too. And for anybody who doesn't know yet, anybody who's listening or watching who wants to be a part of a game, some fun Friday night fun, come on over to our Discord, PM me, and I will let you know what the plan is for that. Other than that, I think thank you to all my co-creators. Thank you to our producer who is here, even though he is on the brink of utter physical failure. And we appreciate everything he has done for the last 3 days in spite of his condition. And thank you to everybody that's watching now or will watch in the future. Thank you so much, guys. Shoot you next week.
Okay, tomorrow.
Don't forget to
black. A tail so barbed with poison strong, a torturous whipping crack. One day he appeared in Edwin's town and slaughtered all that dwelled. And so Sir Edwin vengeance sought as a paladin in hell.